Hello and welcome to Walker Tea Review. I'm Jason Walker, and it has come to that time of year. You know, we had the spring, we had the new, the newest harvest of green teas to come through, especially like in places like China. They didn't have the best season this year, actually, but now those teas have arrived or are arriving here in the U.S. And are available on the market now. You're going to be able to find some sales or some discounts or some special offers, and that's exactly what we've got today. This is from ChinaChaDao. Now this is a Qingming harvest tea that we're going to be looking at, and we've got a nice teapot to use to do that. So let's go ahead and start this tea, talk a little bit about it as we go along. So it's going to be using a lot more, we've got a larger pot today, just because this is a nice tea. I wanted to bring out a more interesting pot and talk about the tea a little bit as we go. So I put my tea in a plastic bag just to kind of add an extra layer of protection. You know, a tin does nicely if the surrounding environment is appropriate. You know, you want to avoid humidity. A kitchen is not the ideal place to place your teas, so don't be thinking that a kitchen cabinet is the best choice. There's usually too much humidity in a kitchen. So I'm getting out my spoon here, and I'm going to be scooping out about a full spoon there, but I really need enough to cover the bottom of this large pot. This is probably six or eight, I can't recall. 6 or 8 ounces. So we're going to need a few teaspoons here. There's one. This is the second. Let me shake that around a little bit. Actually, I want to add just a bit more. So here, that's about 3/4 of a teaspoon, and that looks good. So my water's been brought to a boil, or just before the boil, before a full rolling boil, but it'll do just fine to let that cool or sit for a little bit longer, like we're doing now. Okay, let me seal that up. Well, you know what, I am going to come back and look at that, so let's just leave that open. I'm getting carried away here, so let's set that there. Just a moment as we add our water here. I could rinse. I don't believe a rinse is really necessary, especially with a fresh green tea like this one. We looked at the leaves. The leaves don't have a lot of residue on them, so we can forego the rinsing at this stage. Okay, so I'm going to keep an eye on this, and I'm actually going to leave the lid off because I want plenty of that heat to get carried off quickly so that it doesn't overcook. I'm going to keep a close eye on this. May kind of interrupt and come back to this so that we can pour without over steeping here. But talking about this tea, as we said, ChinaChaDao is the company. It's on eBay. That's where you'll find it. They're based in, I want to say Guangzhou, which is southern China, close to Hong Kong. That's where you're going to find it. This is their Mingqian. Mingqian meaning before the Qingming festival, which is April 4th, April 5th, somewhere in there. Xihu, which is West Lake, the area of Hangzhou, Zhejiang province, where this tea is originally from. And of course, this is their Longjing or Dragon Well tea. 125 grams, available for $19.99, just under $20. If you act during the month of July up until, I believe, August 8th, so that's the 8th month, the 8th day, 8/8. If you buy before that time period, shipping is free. So this could be a great offer if you are looking for a Dragon Well tea coming from that area, coming from China with a fresh harvest like this one is. A couple of things to note: if you are shopping on eBay or if you are buying Chinese teas, in many cases, teas that are processed and packaged in China will often have a certificate number on the bottom. This is kind of the seal of quality that's used in China. There's a website there where you can confirm or verify when when and where, or get more information about this tea. The disadvantage is most of that content, if not all, is in Chinese. You would want someone who speaks Chinese to help you out with that, or reads Chinese rather. Let's see what else. Again, they'll often find other labels telling you, again, this is a 2010 new tea. So that's those are some things to kind of note or keep in mind as you're looking at a tea that is being sold through or bought in China. Okay. Now this should have been long enough to really give this time to steep. So I'm not going to go any further with that until we're able to pour this off. A couple of things to note about green teas before, and we should talk a little bit about the dry leaf in just a minute. With a younger, fresher tea like this, because it is the newest harvest, the question then becomes, how green should the leaf be? Do you want it pale? There are indicators, there are comments and notes available online that talk about, a fresher tea from this period will be a lighter color. Something that is too vibrant, too green, is likely a indicator that this was not the earliest flush or the earliest pick. Again, that would depend on season. That would depend on the climate in that area during that period of time. As a general rule, I would tend to say, yes, that's true. On the other hand, you do not want to have a tea that is pale, that's fading over towards a light brown or a yellow, something that looks like old paper. You don't want that aged look either. So don't necessarily think that less green always means fresh. Something to note there. Speaking of our dry leaf, let's talk a little bit about this dry leaf and get a little bit of note on the aroma and the color of it. Okay, characteristics that I note: there is a light lemony component to this. That's often what comes out in your freshly picked Chinese greens. There is a bit of a toasted cashew note. On the other hand, a lot of people will associate these kinds of smells with it, instead of cashew, over more towards a freshly cooked, in a Chinese rice cooker type of rice notes there. Freshly cooked rice. That if you're coming from with a more Asian palate, that may be the association that you're getting there. Talking about these leaves though, when the smell is quite fresh, it's quite strong, and the leaves, as we noted, these are a good color of green. They are light. They're not a deep. They're a consistent green. They show the indications of being smoothly pan seared. You're getting indications of two leaves and a tip or a bud there. You're getting sets here, pairs at least. You do note a little bit of downy fuzz on these. Not a lot. It's not going to be a thick, cottony type of fuzz really resting on these leaves. So, because of that light green color, because of the consistent shape, again, sometimes this is considered grasshopper wing type of shape, but you are getting a little bit in that overall leaf shape. So nice quality. Some fuzz. It's not overly fuzzy or downy. So this looks quite good. Okay. Again, aromas are in line with what we would expect as well. Let's talk about this wet leaf. It's cooled off some now. more of the vegetable notes are coming out here. You are getting some of the green bean. In the background, I still do detect that rice component, and it's moved more from that cashew that we talked about in the dry leaf over towards a rice component here, freshly cooked rice. You know, it's and again, to really understand that rice, you want to avoid that boiled rice, which is more of you often get in the Western kitchen, to the low volume of water used in a rice cooker in the Eastern style of rice preparation. Okay, let me fish out a few of these leaves as well. Okay, and pull out a few. Like there's a nice leaf or a tip looking there. Here's another. Okay, vibrant green colors. They're going towards kind of a green yellow here. There's a leaf set there, 2 leaves, and the tip or the bud there looks very nice. Okay, nice opened leaf. Let me pull that out. Let me set that to the side so I can flatten this out, because this example here gives you a nice showing of a full leaf, undamaged, connected to another leaf and the bud. So nice set here, nice, very complementary, very positive looking, very delicate looking, fresh looking as well. Let me put these leaves back into the pot here. Set this aside, because this is definitely going to get reused. This is definitely going to get re-steeped. Now, the other side of having a Mingqian or the very early harvest is how strong will your liquor be? What's the color there? And one of the comments, some of the general rules are paler, because it is a lighter green than a later harvest. That would equal to a lighter color of this, and we're going to be talking about how savory this tea is going to be because of, will it be less savory than later harvests? Okay, let's give this one a smell. Again, this one is a yellowish color. Keep in mind though, we did use a higher volume, and actually I steeped this longer than I would have, because I'm really drawing out a lot of flavors and aromas there. So considering the volume of tea that we put in, this is fairly consistent, fairly good quality. Our aroma is staying in that fragrant rice type of category. A light, savory, slightly buttery green bean coming out as well. So good full feel and taste here. Again, it's got a nice feel to the mouth. It is, especially towards the back, it gives this savory texture to it. The savoriness comes from a fragrant rice type of note. If not rice to you, then it's going to be a little bit of a cashew type of note to it, a bit of that nuttiness. And so that builds onto a light, again, savory type of salty feel with it. Not to say that there is no sweetness to it at all. If there is sweetness, it picks up more in the aftertaste, in the cooling aspect in the end there. This tea does have, for a green tea, it has fair amount of body to it, not the fullest amount. Okay. I have to say, off-camera tastings, this tea would do very well with that Gaiwan style that I often use. It's going to be the kind that you can put plenty of leaf in that Gaiwan, give lots of flash steepings, and those will bring out a good savory character, consistent or a full type of aftertaste, or aftertaste. A little bit of that coolingness, and I found in the Gaiwan you were really able to bring out a bit more of the vegetal aspect, which was quite pleasant. It was a sweet, fresh picked type of green bean component there. Quite nice there. So looking at this tea as a whole, from that the quality and color of our dry leaf, the aromas coming off of that, quite characteristic, good components, stronger than some of the others that I've looked at. Wet leaf the same, really bringing out really good leaf sets with nice color as well here. And our liquor, again, give it the Gaiwan style first. Give it the more leaf, shorter steeping periods, and you're going to get a savory note with a bit of sweet, fresh picked, light green bean with that steamed rice, fragrant rice component to it. Perhaps a little bit of nuttiness if that's what you detect on your palate, but overall, as far as Longjings, this is very characteristic of a well received, sought after type of taste and character for a dragon well. So that's why I give this tea a 92. Fine quality, especially considering the season and the weather difficulties that were characteristic or spread throughout China during this season. So come back and join us next time. I hope that you are able to enjoy values like this that Walker Tea Review brings to you, and look forward to more of those kind of values as we enjoy tea and taste it together.